Good morning and welcome, Mohil, Paritosh. Welcome and good morning, Rahul. Welcome, Jeet. Okay, so let us wait for around 2 minutes and then we'll start this lab. Let us wait for others. Okay, so till then, I had created one Google Classroom and I had sent invitation to all. So you can just join it. I will share documents there and you need to submit your practicals and everything in that classroom. I will create task and I will uh, upload some references, PPTs and all in that classroom. Along with that, I will also upload it in e-content so you can refer it from both the sources. Okay, fine. So I think we can start the lab now. So in previous lab, we had created data set, right? And I had given a task to all of you to create student.arff. Fine. So is it done, all of you? Okay. Thank you for the response, Mohil. Great. Fine. So you are ready with the data set. Now, in this lab, what we'll do? We will try to perform data pre-processing techniques task on the data set. Fine. So just let me show the practical list and let me discuss the basic things that we're going to discuss for this tutorial, this lab. So this is the lab manual or the practical list that we're going to perform during this semester. So few things that we had already done till previous lab. Fine. So for example, the first practical and the second one that you already have done. Uh, Achal ma'am had already covered those two things. Now, uh, I think Achal ma'am has covered the first one and the installation part. And until previous labs, we had discussed different modules like Explorer, Experimenter, Knowledge Flow, bench, Workbench, then Simple CLI. So brief about all these modules as well as Explorer in detail that we have discussed in the till previous lab. Also, in the last lab, specifically in the last lab, we had discussed this preparing the data set and understanding the different formats, like we had discussed how to create data set in ARFF, right? So that we had discussed, and after uploading that data set with Veka, how you can analyze it, right? So understanding the loaded data set with different modules, like you are having a section of, let us say, generating graphs, you can perform, let us say, classification, clustering and all. So those things we had already discussed till previous lab. Fine. So up to this, we had done all the things. Fine. So up to this third practical, anybody any kind of question, any kind of doubt? Creating data set in CSV file, that is easy. That we'll discuss also in today's lab. Thank you for the response, Mohil. Great. Fine. So in today's lab, what we'll do, we are going to discuss about data pre-processing techniques. Right? So many filters are there. So how to use those filters and all these things we'll discuss in today's lab. And I had also uploaded this lab manual and list of practicals in the Google Classroom, so you can refer it from there. These things we are going to discuss throughout this lab sessions of DMIR. Now, first of all, let us have some basic overview about that, how you can create a data set in CSV, and then you need to prepare lab manual till this third experiment and upload it in Google Classroom. Right. So, what will be the format? All these things we'll discuss after discussing that. Creating data set in CSV. Fine. So, first of all, let us see that how you can create data set in CSV. So, it is easiest one. It is not that much difficult. So, let us go through it. Let me share the screen. Yes, exactly, Mihir. ARFF is done, but CSV is pending. So right now we are discussing the same thing, that how can you create data set with CSV file format. Fine. So that we are discussing right now. Fine. So if you want to create data set in CSV, generally the CSV file formats are used widely for the data sets where you are having numeric kind of values. either numeric or nominal. Fine. So widely it is used for this purpose only. Let us say some data sets are there where you are having different attributes which can have only numeric values, or let us say nominal values. So for that kind of data set, you can use this format, which is very popular for mostly or widely for these two types of attributes, you can say. So this is the data, this Excel sheet that I have opened. Now, first I will mention the name of attributes. Right? So right now what we are discussing that how you can create a data set in CSV file format. Fine. So there is easy one. Let us say first I am having the attribute, let us say CPI of any student, or let us say GR number. The first attribute. Excuse me. Then I'm having, let us say, batch, lab batch. Then I'm having, let us say, class. Let us keep class at the end. And let us say CPI. So let's keep these attributes. Now, what I will do, I will try to enter the values, random values. Let us say GR number 123. For student, GR number 123. Lab batch, let us say C batch. CPI, let us say 9. Class, let us say TC3. GR number, let us say triple two. Lab batch A. CPI, let us say 8.5. Class, let us say TC3 again. Then GR number, let us say 232. Lab batch, let us say B. CPI, let us say 9.5. Class, let us say TC3. Then GR number, let us say triple four. Lab batch A, CPI 9.2. Class, let us say TC2. And GR number triple five. Lab batch, let us say B. CPI 7.5 and class, let us say TC1. And so what I had done, I had prepared a kind of table with attributes, columns, and rows, instances. Now what I will do, I will try to save this file as CSV. Right, so let us try to save this as CSV. So here you are having this CSV different values. So comma separated, comma delimited file we are going to create. And then let us save it. Yes, we want to change the format. Right, so we have successfully created, as you can see that now the extension is changed. It is CSV now. Now what I will do, I will try to open this CSV file with Vika. Right, so just a minute, let me open it. We're starting the Vika, so it is going to take some time. Okay, so let me share that Veka module now. Okay. So I'm trying to open that CSV file as we have selected ARFF here. All the ARFF files will be displayed. Now we just need to select the CSV, and this is the file that we have created today. Fine. So I will upload. I will try to open it. Fine. So as you can see that we have successfully opened that file with the Vega. And here, as you can see that let us say you are having GR number, attribute name is GR number, and as in Vega we are mentioning the relation name. But here with CSV1, we are not mentioning relation name. So it is directly going to take the file name as relation name. Right? So as you can see here that this relation name directly taking from the file name. Total attributes 4, total instances 5. Currently we have selected GR number, minimum value 123, maximum value 555. This is the mean value, this is the standard deviation. Second attribute lab batch ABC values. C batch having total count 1, A batch total count 2, B batch total count 2. Different colors are there. Which color represents what, that we'll discuss. Then CPI minimum 7.5, maximum 9.5, average mean 8.7, standard deviation 0.783, missing values 0, distinct values 5, unique values also 5. There is no CPI is getting repeated. Now class, three values are there: TC3, TC2, TC1. Total students in TC3 3, students in TC2 1, student in TC1 1, and blue, dark blue represents TC3, red represents TC2, light blue represents TC1. So this is the way you can create data set in CSV mode, CSV file format. Fine. So up to this, anybody any doubt how you can create data set in CSV? Great. Fine. So this is how you can create data set in CSV file format. So we had discussed two methods. One, ARFF file format, and second, how you can create data set with CSV. Exactly, exactly. It is easy to compare, create a data set in CSV. So there is kind of difference, slight difference is there. So for example, whenever you want to have, let us say, larger, if you want to create large data set, this is right now we are discussing about practical things, right? So in practical things, whenever you are performing any experiment or doing some kind of research work, at that time, what will happen? That you are going to collect data from, let us say, some sensors. Let us say a temperature sensor is there, or few other sensors are there. So you are going to create, collect the data, and you need to store it somewhere. Right? So at that time, it is easy to use this kind of CSV file format compared to ARFF. But in ARFF, you can do, or you can say that you are having manual control on data set. Fine. So whenever you want to modify any, let us say, attribute type or values, it is easy. Fine. So you are having manual control there, whereas here, directly all the values and format will be automatically converted in the format which is supported by Wake. Right, so it is faster. CSV is a little bit to create data set in CSV file format is a little bit faster compared to ARFF. Fine. So now let me share that practical list again, and let us see that what we are going to discuss next. Okay. Before that, you need to submit this experiment 1, 2, and 3 in Google Classroom. Fine. So let me share the file format also. Just a minute. Okay, I will take your doubt mail shortly. Please just wait for a while. Just let me share the file format in which you need to submit the data, your lab manual. Fine. So I will clear your doubt very soon. Please wait for a while. First, let me just show you that in which file format you need to submit your lab manual. Just a minute. Let me search about it. Excuse me. Okay, just a minute, all of you. Please wait for a while. Just let me share the screen. Right now, I'm just sharing the file format for submitting this lab manual. Let me share the screen. Okay, so I will upload this file format in Google Classroom itself. So you can use it and you can prepare your lab manual using it, and you need to submit it. Fine. So experiment number 1, 2, 3, you need to submit it before next lab. Fine. So here experiment lists are there. It is same as that you are having in lab manual. And this is the main thing now. So here first should be the title of the experiment. Then here, what is your aim? What is your aim behind performing that experiment? You need to mention it here. Then how do we do this? In this section, you need to mention all the steps along with screenshot. Fine. So till now we had, let us say, discussed how you can create data set in ARFF and CSV, for example. Fine. So along with steps, you need to uh, also use screenshots here with figure number and figure title and all. Fine. So first aim, second, how do we do this? In that you need to describe all the things to create to perform that practical. For example, we had discussed that how you can create data set. Fine. So all the steps, all the things along with screenshots. Fine. So you can also put uh, the code of ARFF here in this file. Right? So in steps, you can put all the codes, all the file format. You can say that all the code that you prepared, you can put it here, and you can mention the steps and your analysis. Let us say after preparing that data set successfully, whenever we are loading that in Weka, then we can have different sections with respect to the data set. Fine. So all those things you need to mention it in, let us say, analysis. Fine. So steps, analysis, all these two things should have screenshots. Fine. So first, how do we do this? In that, you need to mention the steps. Let us say we are using Notepad or WordPad kind of thing, then we are using different kind of sections there. Then sample data set that you prepared for student data set with those attributes that we have mentioned, along with 20 instances that you can mention inside that, and then you are loading it in Weka. Right? So those are the steps to perform that type practical. That will be under how do we do this. And analysis, you are going to describe different sections inside Weka that we had discussed. Right? So for example, you are having different sections, like you are having graph, you are having, let us say, selected attribute based on data information. Then you can also perform classification, clustering and all. And so under that, you are going to mention analysis. Same way, while performing, let us say, pre-processing or classification, what is the analysis? What is your analysis? That you need to also include with screenshots and your analysis. Fine. So that is totally up to your understanding. And last, conclusion, what you can conclude after performing that practical. Fine. So in this format, you need to prepare your lab manual, and you need to follow this. Preparing this lab manual, what will the font size, header, footer, all those things you need to mention to maintain for preparing lab manual for this. I will upload this file in Google Classroom. Just a minute. Excuse me. Okay, so I had also uploaded that. Okay, okay. Amir is having one query that in practical 1 2, it is just exploring Veka. So what do in that? How do we do? Okay. So with respect to practical 1 and 2, in practical 1, you can have kind of screenshots of, let us say, Veka, Rapid Miner, Excel Miner. You can also mention different sections of it. So in experiment one, what you can do, let us say first all the basic information about Veka along with screenshots, then Rapid Miner along with screenshots, introduction and basic modules and all functionalities that you can have. Then Excel Miner, a basic introduction, different modules available, different functionalities available, screenshots, and then at the end a comparison table, fine, that you can do for experiment one. Now for experiment two,
So that
uh,
that
steps
doesn't,
are,
so it doesn't need
yes.
to follow the that format for experiment one, like, right?
No, for experiment one, there is no need to follow that format.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So for experiment one, what you can do, let us say basic introduction about Veka, which kind of functionalities you can have, and screenshot. Same thing, Rapid Miner, different basic introduction, and different functionalities available, then screenshots of different modules, then same for Excel Miner, and at the end, comparison table that you can have for experiment number one. Clear about this, all of you? Mihir? Okay, done. Great. Now for experiment number two, steps to install Veka along with screenshots, and then basic introduction about different modules that we had discussed. You can use, let us say weather.nominal data set, and then you can explore, you can explain that in Explorer how different sections can be analyzed. And basic introduction about experimenter, knowledge flow, workbench, simple CL and all. And so for one and two, the thing will be different. Okay, fine, great. So I had uploaded this file format in Google Classroom. You can refer it. Okay, now taking your doubt, Mihir, doubt for that data set, doubt if I write at the attribute mentor, Samir sir, it was showing some error, but yes, 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 yes. Why it is so? Because in nominal type of attribute, space is not allowed. You can use underscore, you can use dash, but space is not allowed. That is the reason that you are getting error with that. Right? So you can, let us say if you want to use different words for nominal kind of attribute, then you can use dash in between words, or you can use underscore in between two words, but space is not allowed. Okay, fine. Fine. So let us move ahead and start our next practical, and that is data pre-processing. And in that, we are going to use different filters. So we'll start it within few minutes. So let us take the break of around 2 minutes. We'll come back again and we'll start within 2 minutes. So please come back within 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, we'll start the fourth practical.
Sir, and CSV file that
Yes, yes, yes,
Veka, how the
yes.
Veka identify the that it is a numerical or it is a nominal or it is a string?
Okay.
Because
So
we can't, we because in that file we don't give any justification to that.
yes, we are not mentioning any specific type of attribute, right? So that is the reason that mostly the CSV file format is used for majority for two types of attributes, either numeric or nominal. Fine. So what is it is doing? It is directly taking, let us say, in first. Okay, let me just open that file so that you can get it more clearly. Just a minute. Let me show you that also. Excuse me. Let me share the screen. So for example, if you don't want to use, let us say that Excel sheet, then you can directly use this kind of notepad or a WordPad. Okay, let me just increase the font size. You can use directly notepad or WordPad, whichever you want. So what Veka is doing, if you are using CSV file format, then directly Veka is going to consider the first row as different attributes, and with respect to all this it is going to take the name. This is the name for first attribute, this second attribute, third attribute, and all. Now widely it is used for numeric and nominal kind of attributes. So first, let us say whichever values you are having, let us say if you are having numeric, then it is directly considered the numbers as numeric type. Then if you are having characters, then directly it is going to take that as nominal. Fine. So currently, I also don't have any kind of clear thing about this, that how it is going to consider the string one. But mostly, whenever you are mentioning any characters and all, it is going to consider it as nominal. Right? So whenever it is finding any, let us say, any numbers, it is directly considered as numeric. And for characters and those kind of things, it is directly going to consider as nominal. Right? So in CSV, it is going to take it in this format, comma separated values, you can say. Currently, I am also exploring that how you can add string. Yes, exactly, Mir. I am also exploring the same thing, that how we can add string data in CSV, because I tried to add the string data, but it is going to show some error. Right? So I'm also exploring the same thing, that how we can have string data using CSV. Fine. So whenever I will get the way, I will find the way or any solution, I will let you know. Fine. So okay. Up to this, anybody any doubt? How are you going to prepare lab manual? What will the format for experiment 1, 2? Okay, fine. So please wait for a while. I'll be back within a few minutes. Within around 3 to 4 minutes. Please wait for a while. Okay, so thank you for waiting. So let us start the next practical. Okay, so for starting the next practical, I want that student.arff dataset of any one student. So what you can do, you can just simply type down different sections inside this comment box. I will get the code from there and I will use it and going to display that how you can use different preprocessing tasks for it. Okay, can anybody share the code of the dataset that you prepared in previous lab? Student.rff. You can just simply paste that code in the comment box. Yes, yes, Mihir. Code of that .arff file. Fine, so please paste that code with different in different parts. For example, first of all, paste the code from, let us say, relation to attributes and then data. Otherwise, this comment box is not going to allow the pasting of entire code. Right, so you can divide the code in different parts and then you can paste it here. Okay, thank you so much, Mohil. Thank you so much, Mohil. Thank you, Mihir, also. Okay, Mihir, I'm asking about the code that you have prepared. Yes, thank you for that. Now, what we are doing right now, we are trying to perform pre-processing task on this kind of data set. Maybe possible that this data is not sufficient for performing it. So we'll do different things. We'll use different data set for it. Let me just check that whether we are able to perform that using this data set or not. Thank you for sharing that code, Mihir and Mohil both. So let me just open that in Vika. Excuse me. Okay, I think there is some kind of issue with the data set that you have given, uh, Mihir, because I think, just a minute. Let me use the same attributes also. Just a minute. Please give me a few minutes. Yes, that is fine. No issue is there. Thank you. Now let me share that Vika. Okay, so this is the data set, and now this is the first module. This is the first module that is pre-processed that we opened, and with this we are giving this filter. They are giving us this option as filters. So here you will find different filters or techniques or algorithm, you can say, which can perform pre-processing tasks. Pre-processing algorithms, you can say. These are the pre-processing techniques or pre-processing algorithms. So you can have two different options. Okay, just a minute. Okay, so you can have two different options that whenever you want to apply any filter at that time, uh, you can have, let us say, option as supervised and unsupervised. Fine. So it is different types of, you can say that, learning techniques, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So for both, you can have different pre-processing filters or pre-processing techniques. Attributes, you can have this kind of, for attribute, let us say if you want to apply any technique on attribute, entire column, then you can use attribute. If you just want to apply it for instance, then you can use any of this. Unsupervised attributes, you are having this many pre-processing techniques. So unsupervised is nothing but general method. Whenever you are not considering anything, you are having a simple data set and you want to apply pre-processing task on uh, Whereas for data mining, you can type. Oh, sorry, I was disconnected. Okay. So we are discussing that whenever you want to just deal with the data set and you want to make it perfect for data mining technique, then you can go with this. For attribute, this is only for attribute. Let us say if you want to go for, if you want to apply techniques on attributes, then you can go with this. If you want to apply on instances, then you can go with this. And the first kind of, or the first filter that we are going to use is remove filter. So for example, we want to remove any attribute, then how it is possible? Fine, so let us see that. So what you can do, let us say, first option, multiple ways are there. First option, choose filter, let us say unsupervised attribute, and you can choose remove. Then whenever you're going to click on this space, it is going to provide that what is the index, what is attribute indices. Fine, so let us say you can use single attribute also, you can use multiple attribute, you can remove multiple attributes also. So for example, there is one data set that you have prepared, and in that data set so many attributes are there which are useless, so many attributes are there which you cannot use for analysis, and you want to remove it. Fine, so what you can do, first option is to select this remove attribute, remove filter, sorry, not attribute but remove filter. And for example, from this data set I want to remove, let us say, for my analysis, let us say mentor is not used or not useful. Then let us say elective subject is not useful. So here index, mentor index is 6 and elective subject index is 9. So what I can do, I can simply use 6 comma 9 here, then okay, and then apply. Fine, so those attributes are removed now. Fine, so you can also undo the step that you have done. Or second way that you will find more easy. For example, let us say I want to use, or I want to remove mentor, elective subject. Simply tick mark on these two attributes and then directly select this remove button. Those will be removed. Fine. So this is the way you can remove different attributes that you are finding not that much useful for your analysis or for your data set. Fine. So that is the first filter that we had seen, remove. Now the second one, replaced missing values. Now for that, what we'll do, for example, in this data set, okay, let me just open this data set in Notepad and let us see, let us try to add some missing values. Fine. So let us add some missing values. Let us say there is a student ABCD, then CPI, I don't know, or let us say it is missing. And you are having age, let us say 22, let us say gender male, let us say mentor, then batch C, then you can have city, let us say Rajkot, elective subject, Python, then attendance, let us say 80, and placements, let us say yes. Same way, let us add few more missing values. Let us add missing values in attendance also. And so 9 to 13, those are the attribute instances that we had added. And so let us try to open this data set now with Vika. And so we had added the instances. As you can see that it is considering 13 instances now. Fine. So right now, which filter we are going to discuss? We are going to we are going to discuss replace missing values. Fine. So how can you identify that you are having missing values? So for that, you can simply, okay, just a minute, let me share the screen. So as you can see that I have opened this data set and these values are missing because we had added question marks. So question mark represents what? Question mark represents missing values. Right? So you are having missing values here, you are having missing values here. Now we want to deal with these missing values. Fine. So whenever, let us say, if you want to find out the average CPI of your class and some missing values are there, total students are 13, but few students CPI you don't know. Will you be able to get the accurate value? No. Fine. So for example, let us say CPI currently average is 7.75, minimum 6, maximum is 9, missing values 5. Right? So you can say that out of 13, 5 values are missing. So you cannot say that this 7.75 average CPI of your class is perfect, is accurate. Right? So to deal with that, we need to replace those missing values. Right? So how you can do that? So simply let us use this replace missing value. So you are having these 3 filters: replace missing values, replace missing values using user constant, and replace missing value, or replace with missing value, you can say. Replace missing value, replace missing value with user constant, and replace with missing value. These are the 3 filters. So let us go with the first one, replace missing values. So we are having missing values in CPI as well as we are having missing values in attendance. Fine. And whenever you're going to click here, you can change different attributes of that filter. Let us keep it as it is. And let us apply it. Let us see now what is happening. As you can see, missing value 0 in CPI as well as attendance. And whenever you're going to open it, as you can see here, that now the missing value, here we were having missing values from 9 to 13. Now it is replaced with 7.75. Here we were having 2 missing values. Now it is replaced with 80.090, Fine. So which value it is using? So for that, you can let us undo that. Let us see here. Here the mean average is 7.75. In attendance, average is 80.091. Fine. So after applying that filter, whenever you're opening the data set, you can see that you can analyze that here the missing values are replaced with what? It is replaced with mean value, average value. Right. So here CPI is replaced with its mean value. Here attendance values where it was missing, it is replaced with also mean value, average value. Fine. So with this filter, replace missing values, all missing values in your data set, if it is finding that anywhere it is missing values, it is replacing with its respective attributes mean value. Fine. So here mean value of CPI was 7.75. So all the missing values are replaced with 7.75. Here missing values or were 2, these 2. The attributes average mean was 80.091. So it is replaced with its mean value. Right. This is the second filter. Now the third filter. Third filter is replace missing value with user constant. Replace missing value with user constant. So let me share the screen. Currently, okay, missing values are replaced. Let us undo that. Yes, missing values are there. Now the third filter, replace missing with user constant. Select it, and whenever I'm going to click on it, here they are providing this kind of options to us. Fine. So which attribute we want to deal with? Let us say right now we are having missing values in the third attribute CPI. Right. So what we can do, we can simply mention its index number here. Let us say 3. Then date format, it is not applicable to us because we are having numeric kind of attribute. Then date replacement value, with which date, if it is date, if the attribute type is date, then you can use these two, but right now it is not applicable to us because our attribute type is numeric. Fine. So if it is nominal one, if your type of that attribute is nominal, then you can use, or you can mention the value here. Currently we are having numeric kind of attribute, so we can mention our value here. Fine. So here we don't want to replace the missing values with average. We are having specific value. Let us say we are saying that all the values should be replaced with, let us say, 3 or 5 or 6. So here we are replacing replacing missing values with our constant, a kind of constant value, and for specific attribute only. Right. So let us mention the value, let us say 8, and then click on OK, and then click on apply. Okay, index 0, size 0, problem filtering instances. There is some kind of error where we are getting. Let us resolve it. Okay, sorry, I was disconnected. Let me share the screen again. Okay, so let us say we want to have a kind of specific constant. Here I'm trying to specify this particular attribute number, but it's going to it is showing me some error for that. So let us keep it as it is, first to last, and let us use that we want to replace all the missing values with 8, and then let us apply it. So as you can see that all the missing values are replaced with 8. Let us specify. It is giving some error, but let us try to replace the missing values for particular attribute. It is possible. Don't know why it is giving the error right now. Attribute, let us say, or let us try to do it from here. Let us say CPI. Don't know why it is giving the error, but if you just mention it general, I'll find a way for it. Not sure why it is giving the error right now. First to last, apply. All will be replaced with that constant. Right, so here it is also replaced with that static value, constant value. Here also it is replaced with that static constant. Right, so that is the third filter. Now let us see the fourth filter. Fourth filter that we are having is replace with missing value. So for that, replace with missing value. Whenever you're going to click on this, again we are getting the same. Okay, this is user constant. That is again we have selected the same one. Yes, replace with missing value. So attribute indices, yes. So here let us say we want to deal with third, and let us keep all as it is, and let us see that which value it is going to use. Seed 1 probability 0.1. Let us keep all it as it is, and let us see that with which value it is going to replace. The mean value is 7.15 right now. Now apply. Okay, so it is replaced with blank. Okay, so we had replaced few values with missing values. For example, we want to add some missing values in, let us say, elective subject. We want to add some missing values in elective subject. So elective subject is having index, let us say 9. Okay, fine. So as it is adding missing values here, as you increase value of seed value and probability, let us say seed value 30 and index, let us say 8, and then apply. Okay, it is not replacing with anyone. Okay, let us try to change the seed value again, or let us keep seed as it is. Probability to, let us say, 60. Fine. So as you can see that whenever we are increasing the probability, it is increasing the number of missing values also. And so with this filter, you are going to replace values with missing values. So for example, if you want to add few missing values, then you can use this filter. If you want to add missing values in any attribute, then you can use this filter. Because in real time, maybe possible that in real data, some data sets will be having missing values. So you should prepare a model which can also deal with the data set which is incomplete. Fine. So those are the three filters which can deal with different values. You can replace missing values. Also, you can replace any value with missing value. Okay, so let us go with the next filter. Okay, so next filter is discretize. Now, what this discretize filter will do, discretize filter is going to convert your continuous values into nominal one. Right, so let us sharing screen, having some issue. Just a minute. Facing some issue in sharing the screen. Just a minute. Okay, fine. So, uh, discretize is our next filter. This one. Now, what discretize will do? As you can see that, let us say CPI, or let us take attendance. Here you are having numeric or continuous value. Fine. And as we all know that you can have this kind of chart or bar whenever you are having nominal kind of values like mentor, then city, then placed or not. Fine. So for CPI, if you want to have this kind of nominal value, or for let us say attendance, you want to have nominal value, not continuous one. You want to categorize students based on different criteria. Let us say, for example, you want to have the category that in your class, how many students are there uh, who are having the CPI in between 6 to 7? How many of are there who are having CPI in between, let us say, 7 to 8.5? And how many are there which are having CPI greater than 8.5? So you want to categorize some of the attributes. You don't, or you want to convert its type. You don't want continuous values. Let us say CPI is right now having continuous value. You want to convert it into nominal one. So it is possible with the help of this filter discretize. So you can select it. You can mention the index number. Let us say we want to convert attendance, or let us say CPI. Then we are going to mention its index number, let us say 3. Then bin range precision, let us keep it as it is. It is a kind of bin precision, that uh, how much precision it will have. Then how many range you want to create. Let us say you are saying that uh, in your student you want to convert, or you want to have students in two parts. For example, students who are having a CPI less than 8 and greater than 8. So what you are doing, you are having two bins. You are dividing the students in two bins. Then you can also divide in three bins. Let us say that all the students who are having CPI less than 7, first bin, second bin. In between 7 and 8.5, second bin, and third bin, all the students who are having CPI above 8.5. So how many ranges you want to have? How many bins you want to have? That you can mention here. Let us create it two bins. Let us divide all the students in two parts, or two bins, two categories. So you'll be having two nominal values there. Right? So that is for index 3, that is our CPI. Let us keep all as it is. Then click on OK, then apply. CPI. Now you can see that it is converted in nominal type, and it is by default taking these two values as nominal values. All the students who are having CPI less than or equal to 7.5, and who are having CPI greater than 7.5. Fine. So as you can see here, previously it was having numeric type, continuous values. Now it is having nominal values, this kind of nominal values. Fine. So based on the CPI value, it is assigning these nominal values to respective instances. Fine. That is the same way. Let us categorize, or let us convert this attendance into nominal one. So you need to discretize it. Index number is, let us say, 10. You want to have the students based on attendance in 3 categories. So you are going to use 3 here. And OK. Right now, as you can see, that it is continuous. And then apply. Now it is divided in 3 parts. So all the students who are having attendance less or equal to 76.33, in between 76.33 and 85.66. Here 85.6 is also included, and all the students who are having attendance greater than 85.666. So there are 4 students who are having attendance in this range. There are 4 students who are having attendance in this range, and 3 students who are having attendance in this range. Fine. So this kind of benefit you can have. Previously it was continuous, so you cannot directly categorize that how many students are having attendance greater than 75, less than 75. Fine. So based on this, you can do it. By applying this kind of filter, you can do that kind of thing. This is the benefit that you can have by converting numeric kind of attribute into normal kind of attribute. Fine. So let us come back with the same data set. Yes. Fine. So that is the discretize. Next is numeric to nominal. Now, let us say some attributes are there which can have fixed values, like age. It is having type numeric right now, and you want to convert it into nominal one. So you can simply apply that filter. So for example, we are having age, which are having fixed values, for example, and you so age right now it is continuous graph, and you want to convert it into nominal one. So numeric to nominal is the filter that you can use. This is it. And you can mention the index of age is, let us say, 4. Then okay, apply. So as you can see that you are having two categories of the students, age 21, age 22. Right, so now it is converted into nominal one, as you can see here. That is numeric to nominal one filter, which can convert any numeric kind of attribute into nominal one. Here we have converted into age into nominal one from numeric. And you can also have the graph. Let us say the students who are having age 22, out of 22, let us say 4 are placed and 4 are not placed. Yes, blue is representing yes. And all the students who are having age 22, all are placed, you can say. This kind of benefit you can have by converting numeric values into numeric kind of attribute into nominal one. The next filter is string to nominal. Here with this data set, let us say name is string. Name is of type string. And we want to convert this name into nominal one. So let us see. You can choose string to nominal. Attribute range till last, let us say. Maybe index number will not work. Let us try. Not sure. Let's try. Yes, it worked. Here it worked. I don't know about that previous filter. That I will verify. And so as you can see that all the names are converted into nominal one, and you can have individual students now. So you have converted string into nominal one, string attribute into nominal attribute, and all names are treated as values of nominal attribute. So that is string to nominal. Now nominal to binary. Let us say in our case placement status, or let us say elective subject, it is having two values, DMIR and Python, and this is nominal type and we want to convert it into binary. So how it is possible? So elective subject nominal to binary. Elective subject, let us say 9 is the index for it. Okay, apply. Fine. So as you can see that minimum 0, maximum 1, and you have converted it. DMIR values are having 0, Python value where you are having Python, it is having 1 now. So what you have done, you have converted string into nominal one. Sorry, nominal into binary. You converted nominal values into binary, that is 0, 1. Previously, it was having nominal values like, let us say, Python DMIR. Now it is having 0, 1. So what is happening in this filter? Let us say it is taking Python. So elective subject equal to Python. That means what? Wherever you were having elective subject Python, you are having 1 there. In other cases, you are having 0. and transform all the values. Let us select this as, okay, first of all, let us undo that task. As you can see that DMIR Python index 9, transform all the values. Let us keep it true. Okay, apply, edit. So now you are having DMIR, let your subject is equal to DMIR, let your subject is equal to Python. So for DMIR, whenever you are having DMIR, you are having ones. For Pythons, you are having 0. For Python, wherever you are having Python, you are having 1. In the case of DMIR, you are having 0. This is how you can use this nominal to binary filter. And last one, numeric to nominal. I think we had covered numeric to nominal. Yes, numeric to nominal we have already covered. So let us keep it. Okay, and there is a kind of benefit of the attribute nominal to binary. Fine, you can use it for prediction kind of things and all, or let us say whenever you want to analyze different kind of words used in different comments, and you want to identify the, let us say, how many comments are having abused words and all, then you can use that kind of nominal to numeric or binary, nominal to binary filter. So that example also we'll see at the end whenever we're going to go through all the experiments. We also see one of those kind of experiment where you are having kind of usage of that kind of filter. Fine. So, but before that, up to this, anybody any doubt in any of the filter? Up to this, in any of the filter? Anyone, any doubt in any filter? Thank you for the responses, Rahul, Paritosh, Mihir. Great, fine. So these are the different, or many other filters are also there which are useful, but we have seen up to this. We have used all these filters and we have seen with the data set that you have created, that is student.rff. Fine. So I will create a task where to submit the practicals up to 4 in next lab. Fine. So before next lab, you all need to submit your lab manual. So in single file, in only single file, add all those 4 experiments and submit it in the task. Same way, what you need to do, you need to keep adding experiments. Don't prepare individual files for individual experiments. Prepare only single file, keep adding experiments and submit it in classroom, in task. Fine. So clear how you need to submit, all of you? I have shared the format already. And if you have not received invitation for joining that classroom, please let me know. I will send the invitation. Okay, I get another link for lab and lectures where no one joins. Can you please mail me about lectures, lab? Okay, Paritosh, just a minute. Paritosh, I think the links that you are having, it will be having different timings, like 9 to 10 and that kind of things. Okay, are you getting the links of the sessions that we are having right now? Do you have the link of?
Sir, I get the links, but there is another links where no one joins. I have asked my friends for links for every lecture and lab of
Okay,
DMI.
there
Sorry, sir.
in those events, whenever you are
Sir,
going to tap on
your
it,
voice. Yes, sir. And ask to join ऐसे लिंक आ रही है, मतलब वो कुछ अलग ही लिंक आ रही है, वो DMIR की ही है लेकिन कोई अलग ही लिंक आ रही है, टाइम वही है।
okay. So do you find the owner name there?
सर वेट आई सी।
Okay, fine. So maybe or used your email address and added you in that event. So whoever is the owner, you need to ask that owner to remove you from those
सर
links.
it's your name।
In my name, it is showing two links.
Yes sir,
Okay, but
I
I'm getting
have
only.
I get another link, but I don't know, there is a ask to join every time and no one accepts, so I have asked another friends to join in sessions.
Okay, just a minute, just a minute. Let me check whether you are added in this current lab. Or Paritosh, what you can do, Paritosh, there is also one more way.
Yes sir,
So what you can
I
do, you
get
can just
another one.
yes. So you can update your or you can sync your calendar again. Maybe possible that you are getting the past or previous sessions links. So you can sync your calendar.
सर हाउ कैन आई मीन्स कैसे करूँ मतलब
In
आई
Google
आई
Calendar, there
डोंट
is
नो हाउ
option
टू
of
डू।
syncing. You can choose it and you can sync again.
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. So you all need to submit lab manual up to fourth experiment before next lab, and don't prepare separate files for separate experiments. Just prepare only single file. Keep adding different experiments and keep submitting the single file where you'll be having all the experiments. Fine. So taking the attendance now. Just a minute. Starting with Parth. Thank you. Then Asha. Asha. Paritosh is present. Thank you, Mihir. Not there. Darsh. Okay, Mihir is there. Thank you. Darsh. Dhairya. Thank you, Shubh. Thank you, Dev. Thank you, Nikisha. Thank you, Jeet. Thank you, Mihir. Thank you, Bhumik. Thank you, Ishit. Thank you, Abhishek. Mohil. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Rahul. Then Ritwik. Okay, anybody left? And so thank you so much, all of you. I will create the task. You need to submit lab manual before next lab up to experiment number 4. Thank you so much all of you.